have never written a book before. Has anybody else here written a book? By a show of hands, no. So first of all, round of applause to Michelle for setting up the dinner at Watercourse tonight. Thank you to Chef Rachel for putting together a phenomenal first premiere Gluten Gladiator meal for everybody. How you guys liking that so far? Pedro from New Planet Beers supplying all of the gluten-free beers. And then I need that bag. And then I've got some quick thank yous here, and I've got some t-shirts I'm going to hand out. So let's not be shy, all right? Who here in this room thinks that they can give a pretty good explanation on what celiac disease is? It's worth a show.
Happy Celiac Awareness Day!
Happy Celiac Awareness Day. And then what does it mean?
It means your intestines can't digest the protein in food, and it makes you ill in various ways. That's fair.
Right on. And guess what? For 1 in 8 of us in the United States, we're gluten intolerant and we have no idea. We're running to the bathroom 7, 8, 9. Grant, you sat right next to the bathroom. We shared an office. How many times did I hit that office? And working at an organic food company, you would think eating organic food and eating wholesome that you wouldn't have the problems. And I have so many of these stories of going out and surfing with my buddies in California in 60-degree weather, pulling up a wetsuit, paddling out 50 yards, sitting on the surfboard, and then I'm going to date myself. If you guys remember the old Benny Hill bit, turning around and that Benny Hill music of and running off and trying to pull my wetsuit down, throwing off the surfboard, hitting inside of the bathroom, and all of a sudden paddling back out, my buddies would turn to me and say, "Did you have a jellyfish up inside your suit?" But guess what? I had no idea that wheat was my enemy. I had no idea that having just the littlest amount of wheat would put me to bed and would also turn me into a diarrhea volcano. I mean, I hate to tell you this during an actual dinner, but that's exactly what happens to you. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So anyway, I'm going to make this short because I wrote the Gluten Gladiator because I wish that book would have been there for me. I wish I would have known what was making me so sick for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Pedro back here from New Planet was sick for 15 years. Had no idea that wheat was making him sick. At least I was able to nip this in the butt. So, I've got some thank yous before I hand the stage over here real quick. Thank you number 1 goes to the second most patient person in the whole world, and that's my business partner, Paul Craig. Paul and I own a brokerage firm that we sell food to Costco and Sam's Club and Walmart, and we probably couldn't have picked up, and I mean this in a good way, we probably couldn't have picked a worse week. We probably have trucks on the road right now supplying like literally every single Walmart for a launch. We have, I think, about 5 more items going in between Sam's Club and Costco in the next few weeks. So it's been really busy. So I wouldn't have been able to kick off this book without having my insurance policy back me up and everything. So Paul, thank you. The word gladiator, I think most of us just sort of think of that little guy who used to come inside of the Coliseum and fight somebody who was a lot bigger. And that's kind of what we're doing right now with the publishing industry, and there are some similarities between what we're doing and being a gladiator. And taking a look around the room here, we're all gladiators. Dan Sims over here from King Soopers fights on a daily basis to get more organic food from King Soopers and in City Market. Constantly fighting the home office in Cincinnati because they want more room for the garbage products. They're full of preservatives and binders and extenders. We don't want that. And being a gladiator, sometimes it's something that's either sink or swim, that you either learn on your own, or it's something that's taught to you. And this round of applause goes out to the biggest gladiator in my mind, which is my dad. Several decades ago, my dad worked for Exxon. And came to talk to my mom, of course, to help support the family at that time. And there are some similarities between being an entrepreneur. You always have to have that person behind the scenes, a caddy crack, who constantly keeps a smile on her face when we're out there selling crap all over the United States. Daddy? But my mom helped support the family. Dad left Exxon 2 decades ago and decided that he was going to go and take, you talk about Gladiator, he took on the biggest world's corporation and he left and he actually made it happen. And I remember coming home from college one day and looking and I said, Dad, this is the Inc. 100, your company's in there. He said, yeah, you know what? And all the guys from Exxon are telling me, you know what, Ken, you're real lucky. My dad's answer, and I still use this to this day, is like, you know what, you're right. And the harder I work, the luckier I get. And that's exactly why we're here tonight. So the first most patient person in the whole world, unfortunately, cannot be here. It's my partner of 16 years. All you guys know Darren Pyle. Let's who could not be here. We set this dinner up with Michelle probably 6 weeks ago. The night was clear, and then he actually got a promotion 3 weeks ago, mandatory meeting this evening, and now also he can't be here. So, I'm going to make 2 last comments here before I turn it over here to Derek. Paul and I know Dan Sims from Pink Supers is saying the same thing, in food marketing and food development, we just fill up truckloads of product and just ship it off to Walmart. We fill up truckloads of product and ship it off to Trader Joe's. But when it comes to publishing, there's a bunch of different processes that we have to go to. That's why this is a book preview party. It's a pre-order. We will have, thank you to the sister restaurant of Watercourse, City. That's where the actual official book signing will be. So keep an eye out for that in October. You can pre-order here. The book is done. I still read it to this day and laugh and say, I can't believe that was in here. I actually wrote that. I think it's pretty funny. I actually read the portion about Charlie Chaplin. So before I hand it over here to Derek, who's going to explain just a little bit more, I'm going to go back to my advertisements. And the biggest ad agency in Chicago when I left was called the Overnet. They had this 35-story building that was right on the right on East Wacker Drive, and it was humongous. But it was open during the Great Depression by the Overnet. And the man actually built it from one-person shop to the largest agency in Chicago. Largest agency in Chicago. And to this day, there's still a logo outside of that agency, and it's a hand. And with that hand, there's 5 stars over the hand, and underneath is a subtitle that says, keep reaching for the stars. You might not grab one, but you won't come up with a handful of money. And that's what we're doing tonight. I'm taking on a very large industry, which is the publishing industry. Never done it before, but in addition to being a gladiator to wheat, I'm also going to be a gladiator to publishing. I'm going to hand it over to my editor and publisher, Derek Pasconi, so please soak in what he tells you because he knows a lot more about this than I do. So, thank you.